So.
Whatever. How much I'm paying? Okay. Hi, everybody. Glad we could finally make it to our general meeting today. I did want to do a public speaking workshop just because I know one, we have a couple of mock trial people in here. Two, because I'm assuming a majority of you want to become lawyers. And as you know, public speaking is foundational to not just being an attorney, but to any career you want to go into. I'll go more into that as we get closer to the workshop, but first let's go through some reports. You guys all scanned the attendance form, I'm assuming. Right, sounds good. You didn't? Yeah, you did. Okay. My report, nothing to report too much. I just want to say one, I'm currently working on the merch. I was gonna present it today, but I don't want to present it until we have the pre-order form ready. But we are looking at the shirts being free for all due paying members. Raise your hand if you're a due paying member. That's great to see. That's okay, good.
No, I'm not abusing club resources anymore.
Okay, well, if you're a due paying member, you get a free Law Society shirt. We're also gonna have sweatshirts. It's gonna be the same design on top of the sweatshirt, but it is gonna be you will have to pay a little extra for it. I try to make sure you can get a good price. I did haggle a little bit, so hopefully it will be good. I am very proud of the design. It took me and the company like a long time to figure it out, but I got to figure it out. I also, secondly, want to say congratulations to our member of the month, Emilio. Round of applause. Emilio, at least from what I've seen, has come to every meeting, and every meeting he is super active in our club, and not just that, but he shows up and he pops out, if you know what I mean. This guy is always gonna be the most active guy in the group. So again, congratulations, seriously. You have any words of wisdom you want to relay onto the group?
I just got one today.
Yeah. Okay, well, another round of yeah. Okay, Senior Vice President Shaq. She couldn't be here today, but she just wanted to give some updates on mock trial. They just started direct and cross-examination workshops. And so for those of you who are in mock trials, make sure you come prepared. I know that we need to have all the witnesses fully read by then, so just keep that in mind. Scrimmages will be beginning near the end of November. I didn't even know that, so looking forward to that. Vice President of Finance, Operations Interposition. That's true. Position will be decided soon. For those of you guys who did apply for it, just look out for it. I am looking forward to seeing who ended up getting that. So that's it for him. Vice President of External Relations. If you guys didn't know, the Pepperdine Law School tour is coming up. It's not as rigorous as the USC one. It is going to be a similar structure to my understanding, but you're not going to have to submit an idea or anything. Yeah, like you said, just need to bring yourself. I'm not entirely sure what that QR code is.
It's to the RSVP form.
Oh, it is RSVP form? Okay. If you guys are interested to join us for the Pepperdine Law School tour, I would encourage you guys to RSVP. Yes.
Random question, what time do we have to be, like, if not even for carpool, just what time does the tour itself start at the school?
So we'll let you know because right now Pepperdine wanted us to be there like at 9 in the morning. And we cannot do 9 in the morning. So we're trying to get a time later on in the day. And they said that they'll work around that. We're just trying to set like specifically like what time so that we can leave here on time.
Mock classroom runs, because I know that the Caruso School of Law does like actual like pseudo classroom situations where like you can kind of like observe classes at the time, but I don't know.
Like shadowing inside of the classroom?
Basically shadowing, yeah.
I don't think so, just because this would be on a Friday, if I'm not mistaken. And there's like no class on Fridays.
Yeah.
But I think it's gonna be like the same rundown as the last law school tour. For those of y'all who were not at the USC Law School tour for whatever reason, basically it was just their team of admissions, their law school ambassadors as well, essentially running us through not only what the law school has, but the programs it includes and what the basic classroom structure looks like. And they gave us a tour of the building itself. I'm assuming it would be very similar for this tour as well. We would be having a guide. They would be running us through what the application process looks like. And I am looking forward to this one. I know somebody that got into Pepperdine Law and they are a big fan of the school. They are also a pretty high-ranking school, especially considering they're in Southern California. I think you guys should definitely look into it. So I'll give another second for you guys to scan the QR code. No, it looks like you guys already scanned it. It looks good. Me and Michael and I actually attended a UCLA event last week with their Law Society. It was very last minute. If I had known about it beforehand, I would have told you guys to come with us. But essentially, it was their law forum. Sorry? Yeah, that's my bad. No, it was a fun event. And so we got to get familiar with their exec board. And from there, I've had a couple conversations with the presidents, and so has he with their external relations vice president. So hopefully from there, we could see some possible collaborations with UCLA, maybe a possible law firm tour in the future, maybe looking at LSAT prep with them. I know that he's also working on a, sorry, what do you call it? I think that is, so test masters on the 18th, they'll be hosting a discussion with our club. If you don't remember what test masters is, it is the LSAT prep program. We met them over at UCLA. They were super down to meet with us again, and they'd love to run us through the LSAT process, LSAT testing progress. So if you're interested in that, keep that on your calendar. I believe Michael will give more information on that in the Discord later in the week. So I'll make sure to remind him, make sure you guys get that information. And yeah, that's about it from here. Director of Public Relations.
Okay, so, Kobe, Gina, would you like to introduce yourselves real quick?
Perfect. Hi, I'm Sophie, and I'm basically going to be the new external public relations intern for Law Society. I'm a fourth year. I'm graduating in spring. Like,
You guys are more than welcome to stand up here, please. Could you
No,
please
no,
stand up here?
yeah.
But, spring 6, and then I'm a criminology, criminal justice major, and then I have a minor in anthropology. And then for like law interests, basically, I'm in looking into intellectual property, medical malpractice, or patent and big corporate law. Essentially, I'm between the three. And then I also really have like interesting fact. I love Gothic texture, Gothic literature. Do it in my free time, like to research and read forums and stuff on that. And then I also am extremely double jumping. So if anyone wants to see that, I can pull a fun party shirt. Yeah, I can just like do.
Oh. No.
That's all. So,
Yeah.
Hi everyone, my name is Jenna. My major is international business and I'm interested in also pursuing intellectual property law. And fun fact about me, I'm currently really fixated on Studio Ghibli. If anyone knows those movies, like Ponyo, Spirited Away, all those movies. So like if you guys want to talk about that, definitely let me know. And I'm just really excited to be the internal
Relations.
thank you. Intern. And yeah, I feel like it's
So again, congratulations to our two new interns. I'm very excited to have you guys part of the team. Now that you guys are part of our board, you guys no longer have to sit, and obviously not for today, but you guys are welcome to join us to stand up here for future meetings. It is a privilege that comes with being on the board. I know, huge privilege. But these two, they're very great people. I'm very excited to see what they can add to our team. As board members, you guys should be very excited to see what they're going to do. They're going to help make Law Society a lot more interactive and fun. So I'm looking forward to that. So again, congratulations to you two. Let's see. For Ida, next study session for the LSAT will be on the 18th, 5 p.m. in SPA 109, which is this room, and it will be an LSAT game night. For those of you guys who have been regularly attending the LSAT study sessions, it is going to be essentially a cumulative test of everything we've learned so far. It's going to be adding in what we just learned around conditional statements. We're going to be looping back into some of those first lessons just to see where you're at and give yourself a gauge to see how much you've actually learned through the process. I like the little GIF too. That's pretty fun. But yeah, hopefully you guys can attend that. I guess that's about it now. I think I'm gonna get straight into my workshop. But is there any questions about any of the reports anybody had? No? Okay, sounds good. So, public speaking. The reason why I wanted to get into public speaking or get into giving you guys a workshop about public speaking is mainly because of how important and instrumental it is to not being an attorney, but just to being a professional. You know, whatever career you end up choosing, it is essential to your lifestyle. So essentially, I'm gonna be going over these 4 points. Why is it important? What makes a good speaker? Recognizing your own mistakes when you do public speaking or when you speak interpersonally or whatever context. And lastly, our little activity at the end. So why should you be good at public speaking? Like I said, being a lawyer requires speaking. Even if you're not a litigator or a trial attorney, where you're quite literally speaking to a jury in front of a bunch of people, there's also going to be instances where you're just doing a one-on-one. How would I do this? And then you sit down with the person across from you, and you have to utilize public speaking in order to exude confidence, properly represent your client, and show that you know what you're doing, even if you don't know what you're doing. I've spoken with a lot of lawyers in the past and present, and they say you kind of have to become an expert in everything, which means you're not going to be able to know everything that you talk about. I'll give an example. Let's say you are working at a corporate law firm and you're cycling through clients in your first year, just because I'll let you know your first year is going to be rough. That's when they start giving you random clients, random people to start working with, random companies. Or you start shadowing people or shadowing other attorneys who are working through a bunch of different companies. You're not going to know everything about this company as much as you will to this company, as much as you will to this company. That's why with public speaking, you can give the other person the impression that you know what you're talking about. Give yourself that confidence and the power in the room, which is essential to being not a lawyer, but just a professional in whatever career you end up wanting to go into. I wrote down some examples of which legal professions require it, but again, like it really is everything. I mean, if you want to go into finance, business exec, the only reason why this wouldn't apply is if you want to be an accountant. But I'm sure a lot of you guys don't want a terrible career like being an accountant. That sounds miserable. No offense to any accounting majors in here. But what makes a good public speaker? What I've noticed, this is based off of my personal experience, and you guys are to interpret this however you want, but I noticed 3 fundamental things. First thing is a structure. Where's your organization? Notice how at the beginning of this speech, so to speak, I gave you guys an outline of what I'll be talking about. That not only it gives myself an idea of how to space myself out, when to talk about certain things, and how to lead myself up to certain conversations, but gives my audience an idea of what they should be expecting, what to look out for, and what aspects of my speech they should take away from. This also looks like having a strong opening and closing. This is more applicable to formal speeches. Let's say you are in class and doing a public speaking assignment. It's nice to have an opening statement where you explain what you're going to be talking about and closing off with a banger, something that leaves your audience with something that's impressionable. Second is that delivery. Notice when I'm speaking right now, I'm choosing when to speak up, choosing when to higher my volume, and choosing when to be more quiet. And choosing when to pause. Y'all saw that there, right? Y'all saw that how I built that suspense there. See, it's stupid, but these are elements of public. Exactly, yeah. That's the thing. You have so much power in the way you speak and how you format it. That adds a lot. You know, and you want to be strategic with the way that you format that tone. You know, right now I'm trying to give off I'll give you guys a little insight on how I decided to interpret this. I wanted to give off a type of authoritative tone. I don't know if you noticed, but I'm kind of speaking in a deeper voice than I normally do. If you talk in your conversation, I have a high voice. I kind of talk like this. But I feel like for me personally, I feel like what gives me confidence when I speak is sounding confident, sounding structured. You know, something that also helps. I don't know if for those of you guys who are in mock trial, we talked about utilizing the well of courtroom. A lot of people will move across the room to engage different parts of the audience. Want to drag your attention because when I start moving like this, your eyes start to follow. And you want to know what's Nicholas doing on this side of the room? What's he gonna do? And now I see more eyes on me now, which is crazy. Again, it works. You want to know how to be strategic with your speech, with your speaking. You want to know when you quiet down. You want to know when you speak up. Lastly, presence. Confidence. Confidence is key. I heard this amazing quote They said it's not about what you say, but how you say it. If you sound right, it's gonna come off as right. You know, there's been a lot of times, I was in class the other day and I gave a presentation about the government shutdown. And I gave a stat that I accidentally made it up on the spot. I said that 300 million Americans would be affected by this, that. In case you didn't know, that's like our entire country population. But everyone took it as fact, you know, because I said it like it was right. You know, if I said something right now and I said it as fact, then you would believe it. Everything I've said so far, you guys have taken as facts. Did I provide you guys with any sources that show this correct? Did I provide anything outside of my speaking that showed that it was correct? No, I didn't. You guys are taking it as fact because I'm saying it as if it is fact. I'm not saying that what I'm saying is wrong. I'm just saying, we really want to consider your confidence. And then you also want to take some time to reflect what makes you feel confident, right? I know for me, when I am ready to have a speech in class, I'll usually wear a hat. I wear a fitted hat and I'll wear it backwards. The reason why is because I feel more confident when my hair is out of my face. I forgot to wear a hat today, so I'm kind of lacking on that. But that's something that helps me feel confident. Let's say you have a favorite pair of shoes, you know, and you feel like you own the world when you wear those shoes. That's gonna help you build more confidence and speak more confidently. It really is those little things though. You know, why would you wear an oversized baggy hoodie? As much as I love my oversized hoodies, why would you wear it when you need to give a presentation? If it's just gonna get in your way, if it's gonna tug on your back, if it's gonna be a little scratchy on your left shoulder, you know, you want to be comfortable because comfortable leads to confidence. You know, that's also why they encourage you to wear a suit when you speak. That's my take though. Again, eye contact as well. Notice how I've been trying to give you guys all eye contact throughout this. Have I been looking over here? You know what? Public speaking is a lot about just, you know, this and that. Yeah, and you know what? There's this delivery is really important. You really want to be able to have like confidence and yeah, you know what? No filler words either. You know, like, am I engaging with you guys? No, I'm not engaging with you guys. And you guys want to be lawyers, right? Yeah. Just how many of you guys have considered wanting to be a trial attorney? Or if you're or mock trial right now? You know? Yeah. Who are you guys speaking to? You guys are speaking to a jury of people. You guys want to make sure that jury number 1 is as engaged as jury number 3, as engaged as jury number 10. You want to make sure that they all understand what you're saying. And how else are you going to do that unless you give them direct eye contact? Yeah. Yeah. Again, a lot of these things are very overlooked. You're going to overlook them. I've been avoiding some of these things during my speech right now. I feel like a lot of the times I've accidentally said some further words during this speech. There's been a lot of times I'll accidentally stop to the distance during my presentation. But you want to make sure that you are making an active effort to include them when you speak, just to include that confidence, you know. Next slide. Now, when it comes to recognizing your mistakes, you want to take some time to reflect. You think next slide as well? Thank you. Think about what is it that you do when you speak that probably shouldn't do. Maybe something that makes you feel more reserved. For me, I used to go like this when I speak, you know. I used to put my hands like this. I mean, it's comfy. If you see me standing in line, I'm standing like this. It's comfy. I don't care. I'll do it any day. But when I'm speaking, I mean, what does this make me look like, Jenna? What do I look like when I do this?
Insecure and unconfident
Why?
because you're just like curled up instead of getting open, like expressing.
Okay, yeah, that's what it is. You know, I look like I'm not comfortable in my own body. I'm not confident in my own body. How am I going to be confident in what I'm saying? You know, what if I'm like this? What does this show you?
Disengaged.
Disengaged?
Yeah.
A little anxious, maybe? Yeah. It looks like I don't care to be here. That's like if I was in the audience and I saw someone doing this, it looks like I don't want to be here. It looks like I'd rather be sitting down in this chair. You know? Another thing, filler words. I've been saying some filler words during my speech and I hate it. I've been trying to make an active effort to get rid of it. If you heard me say anything like, you know, like I said earlier, or and, those are filler words. Why do we say filler words? I mean, why would you say filler words? What do you think?
When, probably like when you're talking quicker than you can imagine what you're gonna say,
Thinking faster than you speak.
Yep.
Okay. That's a good reason.
or speaking faster than.
Exactly, yeah. That's what I like to call verbal clutter. That kind of moment where you're thinking at 100 miles per hour, but you're speaking is 50 miles per hour, and you end up trying to like catch yourself up, and you're like saying something like this, and you're speaking too fast, and you don't know what you're saying because you're trying to figure out what you're like and like and like you know like you know like that was a mix of my two filler words. You really want to be able to recognize what those filler words are. What's an example of some of your own filler words? Amelia, what's something that you end up saying during your speeches that you wish you wouldn't do? Okay, yeah, exactly. I mean, I know, let's say, like, no, like, that's a very common one. I always call out Ida, our LSAT, academic development vice, director. I always call her out for saying like all the time. She talks like a valley girl, it's crazy, you know? It's funny, but, you know, when you're speaking to a crowd of people, you wanna make it clear that you know what you're saying. And a way that I've learned to avoid saying all these verbal clutter is pauses. You know, when you want to say something like, just pause. Like what I said earlier about pauses, it kind of adds a little suspense, adds a little bit of engagement, and you also at the same time being getting rid of that verbal clutter. Verbal clutter, when I say verbal clutter, I'm also including body language. Now, when I do something, I have a huge tendency to play with my bracelets when I speak. I should have taken these off. But to me, this is verbal clutter. Because when I look down to fix my bracelets, I end up putting my focus away from you guys and looking at my own wrists to make sure it's not poking my arm hair, make sure it's in the comfortable position, fix my ring. So when I go up to give speeches, I take off my jewelry. Right? So I want you guys to turn to someone next to you just for a second and think about what is your verbal clutter? What are words that you say all the time that you wish you can get rid of during your speeches? What's something that you wish you could stop doing? Maybe if you want to stop doing this, you want to stop twiddling your finger. What is it that you want to get rid of? So turn to someone. Speak for a second.
I said, there's someone, oh,
That's pretty.
Where is like stab it, right? You want to go from this and you want to get finger. And instead of I did the one you go to the like and or pesto.
God reels. Can we make 1 second story? Yeah. No, it's gonna be a story. I'm getting blown away by the storm. I love those. No, I showed it to Jenna and I was like laughing like 5 minutes straight. Yeah, but I was like on the floor, like I thought it was so funny.
I was like, oh my God.
She's like, we're like, no, the neurons are dying. I have faith that myself. I remember, when I started to. And I was gonna do this.
Yeah.
And I remember.
All they know is that. You're the class.
No, that's bad. There's a politics.
That was so realistic though. It's like, dude, that's so.
What?
This is awesome.
I full blast. I do like the millennial volume thing.
I gotta adjust it. You know, like, here's this good.
She's like leaning in.
Oh my, I feel like I should turn my brain off, because that's what, like, yeah.
Oh my gosh, the amount of times that I thought of bullshit when I'm standing up at I literally have to like bite like, my tongue so like so like so like get it stop.
I cannot like,
Big dog.
yeah, I just have to shut my brain off.
I still take shit seriously.
It's just like around your head.
Guys, it's a fan.
Like when I'm presenting.
And you start thinking about stuff?
Yeah.
I imagine being in the audience and seeing myself standing up there and it's like we go back. You know, but like, I feel like, this is like, telling some people, like, when shit is not funny, like,
Okay, so what were some like examples that we like some commonalities? Something you had in common with someone else, like a feeling word specifically. Anyone? Over you. I didn't hear anything from your group.
Maybe just saying light to kind of what you talked about earlier, where it's you don't know what you're gonna say, so you can fill it with light instead. So I kind of give you some pause before you say what you think.
Yeah. Yeah, a part of recognizing our mistakes with public speaking is trying to find the origin of why we do it. Like I said, I touch my hair when I give public speeches, which is why I prefer to wear a hat or gel my hair back. I was talking with this group over here, and that's like a similar issue that they have. And when you think about it, why am I touching my hair when I give a speech? Maybe you want to fix it so you feel like you look good, which is going to help your speech. If I fix my bracelet, it's going to stop pinching my arm. I'm going to feel more comfortable, so then I can start speaking good. You know, why don't we clear out those distractions before we start doing public speeches? No, I'm gonna take this bracelet off now as an example. Take this bracelet off now. If you have long hair, you can put it in a ponytail. If you have hair like mine, you could gel it back or slick it back. Anything to remove those distractions. So then you're not thinking about what's on your arms, in your face, but focus on your speech. And as for filler words like you guys were talking about, what's the origin of those filler words? What I've noticed at least is that our brain has thought A and it has thought 2. And we're trying to find a transition between these two thoughts. And so either we can do the first option of finding a transition between the two, saying, I don't know, some transitional sentence, which takes more brain power, more thought. And when our brains are thinking so fast, we don't have the time for that. Or we could say thought number 1, and so like, and then thought number 2. You know, we say filler words to bridge this gap between two thoughts. And because we're not slowing down in our speaking, because we don't have a clear structure of what we're going to talk about, we end up giving ourselves these little filler words in order to make ourselves feel more justified in the content of our speech and feel more confident when in reality it's just doing the opposite. You know? So that's recognizing our mistakes. And I think that is into our activity, actually. I'm calling this the hot mic competition, right? So I think we have about 12 people in here. I'd like to see us get split up into groups of 4. I'll number you guys off in a second. But essentially how this is gonna go is that one at a time in your little groups, one person's gonna present for about 30 seconds. I'll give that person who's speaking a topic, a random topic. And they're gonna have to speak on that topic for 30 seconds without any distractions, without saying any filler words, and having to be clear in their structure. If they pause for too long for any moment, if they say, and so like, or then you cut them off and you tell them to start over. Okay? This is to help you guys get in the habit of practicing these things you guys have done. You guys just spent the past few minutes recognizing your mistakes. Now, take a couple seconds before I figure out the groups to figure out how you're gonna avoid those mistakes, and you guys are gonna be put on the spot. Okay? Let's do that now.
I think the groups are already 4.
I want it to be random. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna number you guys off by 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You guys can meet in certain corners. So 1, 2, 3. I was already numbered off. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So remember your numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Got it? I go.
Go.
All right, go.
No. I did it. No, I just, I feel like, and then I.
Oh, you just did the filler word. Is this our group 1? You guys can. You can share it right here.
Is there green of screen?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we'll do that. Okay.
That works out. It's fair. Picture.
Okay. I'm gonna give you guys random topics, so just talk amongst yourselves until I come to your little group. Yeah. You guys have.
I'll do all of you too. 1, 2, and 3. Perfect. I know, I hope
About.
that one's so obvious. Huawei. You know, Vish, you know Huawei? Yeah, the Chinese brand. Better than both. Huawei, ultimate cars, dude, you should see the cars. So cool. We want to get them to the bus. I've just seen them online. Yeah, that's why it was banned in the first place. I forgot what specific brand, but it was BlackBerry got shut down because of the same thing. And then Microsoft also shut down another company. It wasn't Chinese though. It was a company that was also doing like Firefox or something like that, or like some Edge or something like that. And then they like took over and like banned it. So then it wasn't able to continue. See, look, that information, no good. So he's up here.
But remember,
I'm in a very Chinese time in my life. You guys know that? Yeah. Oh, I'm in a very Chinese time in my life. That's where I'm. So like, I've been performing. I cannot wear heels to school. I cannot wear heels, period. My feet are hurt. So I'm not used to wearing heels. Wait. I'm only wearing boots.
Yeah.
Is it really?
It's gonna be like you can bake off. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Also, Emilio, I saw that you are a huge roller coaster fanatic. What is your go-to coaster at Disneyland?
Okay.
Exactly. That's why I'm asking, because there's nothing. I don't think I've ever been on that ride. Yeah, I like the Incredicoaster. I like a Guardian. I wanted to go when it was. Yeah. I love the tower. Yeah. Have you been on that one? No, you should go on that one. Well, I like drop coasters. That's true. Yeah.
Where was the? Let's say, we remove that. What's that thing called? When you remove the seat. Oh, it's not break. Not break, whatever. Why do you? To see, why rear should see the answers? And then choose the here, a jewelry, this, and like. Anything that shows that she's pretty confident and pretty positive, say that she messed up, why she messed up, and start the time. Okay? You said that's.
It's great. That's like hard.
Yeah, why is it? Why do you put this? It's not like it's pretty loud. Remember, you go up, I'll be here. That's scary. I did talk about that.
Very well.
Yeah.
But now.
That's bad. I didn't like. But she is ready, she big crap, she outcharged as well as The pause could be like random stuff, but the pause could be like, you know, if you're thinking what you're up, I think. She's not even friends, because she part of
Yeah, my friends are either like.
Why Hello Kitty is the worst animated character. That is a big friend. According to the show, turn on the. I did. Yes,
Well, there's like some. Why pink is the worst?
It's so far. Wait. So, pink is the worst.
I think you're talking about pink is good now.
Wait. Okay, but it's not okay. Okay.
And also make sure I thought. You said why, you said different thing, I was like, oh, it's fine. They just moved away from me. I was 50 a long time. Exactly, yeah, the social society.
And you know.
Wait, so how many years?
Pink is the worst color ever.
The time I got like that. So, ladies and gentlemen, there's a one at this party.
Why?
You said, I think, when and stuff. Even though you're not speaking to when we're and you're still using them. It's just, so I noticed it because they show it. You're saying, it's the worst thing ever. Even if you next thing, you're doing myself. You a different part of your brain. Part of your brain, where your actual, your essential, and you switch to this side, so you can figure out what else to do. You know, that's what you understand. That's what you can do. Pink is the worst color. Pink is the worst color ever because of the.
April, like, this is like a question.
My bad. Hey, no,
Alright. No, I don't collect my thoughts.
I just want to find out again. I think about your face. I don't see opposing by. I sit there.
Why you bring it back?
Yeah.
Like 80 times.
It's like.
Today I'll be talking about the time like So it was a Friday morning at 8:30, 6:30. I woke up around that time, drove to Long Beach, made sure that we had a drive. After going into a job interview for a CSO.
But it would, I don't like how you would like it and really see it. I think this will work on it. I think this was like, that's the reason that, because you're gonna like, say like you're gonna, and then you're. And when you kind of go straight to the evidence, it's a lack of structure. So I like how you, the same case. Go with your gut there. You guys are right. There you go.
My brain is just like, oh, this is how. Yeah, okay, so
Yeah, the character, she's not.
That's,
Like, she said, like, you were
phenomenal. Like you said, though, you were everything, disengage yourself, and then you lost it. Okay, Emilio. If you want to speak, you might be more of an assertive. Like you're not saying, just simple questions. If you got. Thank you. By, style, that you can also bring up in the
Using party are failing out. Routine and left and right. Looks like the river decomposing part of your chain because of failure to meet the management. For example, just these ends, class goes the part of the using curving on this who's to say that every single one of us.
So you've been staring at me for the past 15 seconds. Give these guys eye contact too. Yeah. That was good though. I also slow down with the emotions. They are beautiful, but you want some. You know, if you say 6 plus this, now it's very far from that. You make a clear distinction and you give a visual to your audience. When you're confidently doing this, I'm like a little confused what to think, what to like, you know? And I think you're also right at the, you're right at the line for speaking too fast. I think where you're at is a good balance. Yeah, I don't know, I think you're good. I think you're good. I think you're like, I think you're not, if you're right at like this. Just keep that in mind. Be familiar with your tape and make sure you know the whole. You're doing that, it's fine. Yeah.
You app Jack.
I thought it was.
Really good. Yeah. Yeah. It's. So, price kids more. So, you're good.
Boy. You guys, we'll see how that.
We should stop.
Wait, can I police Janice?
We should like, sorry. The same like Six Flags, marching in the country was just forced to close when I operated Six Flags America. because they failed. We act like, yeah.
I'm talking about
Your tone's much better. Your speeds. I have. Yeah, don't worry about the rest.
Take everything you like.
Like a lot.
Now.
I'm used to a lot. I don't.
Six Flags America created.
I don't just find the feelings
Bro,
very.
Then talk about
That makes sense.
how you don't do shit.
I feel like very, uses funny words. I was explaining that.
Okay, guys, here's what we're gonna do now, right? Here's what we're gonna do now. Everybody in the groups went, I'm assuming. Did anybody not go? You didn't go? Okay, you didn't go? Okay. So there's 3 people that can still go then, so that means you guys are gonna come to the front and do it in front of everybody, right? We'll go one at a time. Just because I wanna.
And whoever loses, kick out both sides.
We can start with you. If you wanna get up to if everybody can also stay and cheer before you do. If you do. Why, hold on, guys. Why would we be doing a public speaking exercise if you're not speaking to the public? Like, what's the thinking, right? Oh, oh. Alright, so let's all move this up. Isabel, could you just check the chair? Can anybody think of a random topic to give her? What do you have?
Okay, talk about all the fun things about lunch house.
Oh, yeah, example. Why pineapple? You like pineapple?
I don't mind it.
Why you like, that's a no.
Talk about why and talk about why people should care whether pineapple goes on pizza. Okay? Why they should care. Not whether it's good or bad, but why they should care if it's good or bad. Yeah. Okay. I'll keep track. You're gonna get 3 tries. You have to get within one of those big tries or else, yeah, you're talking about Law Society.
Just be double.
All right. Whenever you're ready.
Pineapple on pizza is a highly debated topic. Who are we to judge someone for their likings on their pizza? I mean, just because someone.
Oh, but you said I mean. Oh, but you said I mean. I feel like, so that was a filler word, right? Because I mean added nothing to your speech. It was just your means of transitioning between thought A and thought B, right? How about instead you take a pause instead of saying I mean, just so you can get the audience ready to engage with your second piece of evidence in your speech and or whatever it was meant to be, right? And slow down when you're speaking too. That's my advice. Ready whenever you are.
Pineapple on pizza is a highly debated topic. Who are we to judge someone for their topping choice on their pizza? If someone likes pineapple on pizza, I wouldn't judge them. Why should you judge them? If someone likes pepperoni on pizza, why would you judge them? After all, it's just a pizza topping. Why are we debating this topic so much? It's their preference, it's their liking. At the end of the day, it's harmless. Who, like,
All right. We're doing so good. 2 seconds left.
2 seconds.
Late, started it late. I thought.
Actually, she could be on like 30.
Well, I will say I did start.
Unless
Sorry,
we're on
real
time,
fast.
it's 2 o'clock.
But I will say, in the future, give us less hand movements. I did forgot to mention this in the speech or during my presentation. Only use hand motions if they are adding to your speech. Because I know for myself, I would use hand motions because I thought they made my point feel stronger and they added confidence. But it ended up getting to a point where I'm like, what am I doing with my hands? You know, again, use your hands strategically. But congratulations, you passed. You passed.
Pressure. I feel as though I'm about to have a heart attack. So, I know.
Okay, how about?
Okay.
Oh.
Okay, why? Okay, why did tattoo get?
Oh, wait, but mine don't matter. I have absolutely no.
Then how about you talk about why people shouldn't get tattoos?
History of this of that. Oh my god. Okay.
Alright, ready whenever you are.
I almost need to think of points for a second, because I actually don't have any reasons for why.
Okay, take 10 seconds to think.
My internship is on the line. Right on. Wait, should I do it on right? Shouldn't get that.
Why they shouldn't get tattoos. Why they should not get tattoos. Why it's bad for somebody to get a tattoo.
Wait, why that should?
Because you know, that'd be too easy.
Okay. All right.
Whenever you are.
For as long as history can recall it, tattoos have been a huge primitive point in all of history. In terms of an art form, tattoos have been an expressive piece as well as even a possible religious statement. However, today, people would most likely, oh, shoot, okay.
You're doing good.
Yeah, it's
You're-
like my
yeah.
points are good, and then I was going along with it, and then, sorry, I'm like, as if I'm like teaching everybody right now. But I'm trying to think of, I have my points, but I'm trying to articulate them across, exactly.
You were making me hate tattoos.
I think what was happening is that you thought of a bunch of points and you're thinking of more points as you're speaking and you're trying to think of ways to fit them in your speech. And through that, you started speeding up because you were like, I'm a 30-second time crunch. I gotta get these all in. So I would say slow down. If you don't get 5 points across, it's okay. We'd much rather have 2 points anyways. And another thing, I would also say eye contact. Because a lot of times you kept looking up in the roof when you could have been giving eye contact to Jamie here. Yeah.
Okay.
And so that.
Just go like this with your hands, Jimmy, and then, we'll be good.
The keys, Jimmy.
Yeah. Okay.
Ready whenever you are.
Okay. For as long as history can recall it, tattoos actually have been a huge part of the historical piece of history. In general, I would say tattoos can either be a great thing, or however, they can be looked down upon or even frowned upon. For, I would say, the last 1,000 years, tattoos have been used in a lot of tribal rituals. However, now in Catholicism and Christianity, they've actually been frowned upon, especially in today's 21st century with classic Karens or classic people per se.
Oh, there you go, timer. So I noticed that there was moments where you took a second to reflect, pause. And not only did that add to your speech, but it gave you a second to think about what am I gonna say next. That would sound coherent and would make sense with the rest of the speech.
I've never say classic Karens in trial. I just had to think of some kind of stuff.
There you go. And
Okay.
it sounded right because you said it right, so it was right. You know, if you say something like it's right, it's gonna be a fact. So that and you did a good body. Okay. Let me pull out my.
Wait, what's it?
Yeah, I was gonna have Louise come up here, but I feel bad. You don't even like. Now, if that's like we're on a time crunch and I don't wanna like. You wanna go?
No.
Wait, hold up, you can come on. It's okay. Welcome, welcome. Oh, little reflection. Oh wait, that's not the reflection page. Like me. Kayla, something what was easy for the people that came up to speak just now for everybody. What was easy about that?
Finding points.
Finding points, that was easy. How come? Because that was a topic that I was like, does not suit your nature.
I would say honestly, the first indicative thing was thinking complete polar opposite of what I was thinking. Essentially, my mantra of my personal self, whatever the exact opposite was. That's how I found it.
Okay. And for any of those speakers, like in general, what was hard about this exercise?
I think just being conscious of like using filler words,
Mhm.
like thinking like, oh, I can't use that word, and then like that made it more difficult.
Yeah. Yeah. So verbal clutter that you avoided was
Yeah.
like so. Who had trouble with their physical posture? Who kept doing stuff like this? I know you did. And I know some of you guys would look off to the distance to think about what you're trying to say next. You when you do that, you kind of get disengaged from the audience, you know? What felt different now that we actually went through this exercise? You feel like you're being a lot more conscious about what you're speaking of. I don't know, what did you feel after coming up here? Because I'm sure you've done a bunch of public speaking before, but now that we did this exercise, what felt good?
Yeah, definitely like the consciousness because I would use a lot of hand gestures. You called me out on it.
Yeah.
So afterwards, after that comment, I was like, okay, I need to stop doing this when I was doing public speaking.
Yeah.
Just because I think it could be distraction.
Yeah. I'll say my biggest takeaways for everyone is before you have like a speech for class or if you kind of run for an election for law next semester and you need to give a speech because that's how our elections work in case you guys didn't know, you want to take a second beforehand, maybe like a couple days before, and recognize what your mistakes are. Recognize what verbal clutter looks like for you. For you, it was your hand motions. For Jenna, it was her filler. For others, it was the kept looking off in the distance. Recognize what that verbal clutter is. Figure out ways to avoid it. And your speaking skills will strengthen from there. Secondly, is find your confidence. For me, like I said, I like to flick my hair back. I like to put on a fitted hat backwards to get my hair out of my face. For some people, it's putting on a suit. For some people, it's wearing the lucky shoes, the lucky socks, lucky undies. You know, anything that gives you more confidence. Something I didn't mention before, but something that I really appreciate from public speakers is when they don't have postcards. You know, I know that sounds a little random, but when I would emphasize when I would give speeches in class, and I'm sure you guys can notice this, when you have something you're reading off of, what did I say about looking off into the distance? You look disengaged. What happens when I look here and I'm looking for the next thing to say? I look disengaged and I start looking for the next page. It looks like I'm paying more attention to this piece of paper than I am to you guys. And not just that, but you're trying to keep up with your own reading, speaking as you're going along. How are you able to balance your tone, your volume, your pace, keeping a conscious effort of your stance, your your likes if you're reading, looking down at a piece of paper? That's what I'd also emphasize for future speaking. You should also look at memorizing.
I'd also like to add that it also looks like you're really unprepared. It looks like you don't care, like Nick said, like you don't care, you're not prepared, you didn't like try. And that's what really sucks. And people can notice that right away. So that's another thing to just keep in mind.
Not just that you're unprepared, which is like a big thing. Like if it gives to the audience. Let's say you're running for an election, right? And you're speaking and you're reading off of postcards. What does it tell the audience? It tells them one, you don't care about the position enough to memorize your own speech. So why should they vote for you? Secondly, you're not confident in what you're saying. You know, as an audience member, I see someone reading off postcards. If they're not confident in what they're saying, why should I be confident in what they're saying? So when you speak without postcards, you look at the guy and they're like, that person is confident what they're saying. What they're saying sounds right. And what I say about someone who sounds right, they are right. If it sounds like facts, it is facts. You know? That's about it. I'm glad you guys were able to get this little exercise out of the way. Yes.
Sorry, I don't know if you talked about posture. I think you talked about
Yeah.
hand gestures, but I also noticed your guys' posture for some of you guys. I didn't want to point it out because it's honestly kind of not that big of a deal in this sense. But also, if you're like slouching, if you're like standing like that, it doesn't look very good to like a speaker. You look tired, you look lazy. And it looks better if you're like standing up straight. Like, I don't know if you saw how like that looks lazy, but like Nick, if you stand up straight, like if you have like just your chest out, like you look much more confident. You look more like you have your like you know that you're reassured. Like you can reassure your audience that you know what you're talking about, and that adds on to like your tone, your your topic, and whatever you're trying to give out to the crowd and to the people.
Yeah, if you look confident, that's again what it is. You look confident, you sound confident, you are confident. When I give speeches, when I talk, I'm not confident. I do things to make me feel confident, and I embody fake it till you make it. You know, exactly. That's why you put on your favorite outfit, you put on your favorite shoes, you take off things that distract you, your jewelry, your necklace, move your head out of your way. If you get rid of these things, put on my shoes, I make me feel confident. I get rid of my hair, makes me feel confident. Maybe then I'll be confident. And then you fake it till you make it, and you end up being confident. Any other notes? Any other questions? Okay. Yeah.
Well, just like another note, like for presentations, not think about the time. Never
Oh,
think
yeah.
about, oh, I have 2 minutes, like completely just get it out of your head and it'll make it just a lot easier to just talk. Like just think like you're talking, teaching. Like if you have to think about you talking to your dog, talk to your dog, talk to your sister, you know?
Yeah, you're distracting yourself. That's what it is. You're distracting yourself. It's like a mental way of looking in the corner of the room or looking at your note card. You're thinking of something else and you're taking away from your speech. You know, you want to have a clear vision of what you're going to speak about. Any other questions, comments? Okay, we can wrap it up there. Thank you guys for being able to come to our meeting today. That's it.
And then can I have a picture? That'd be great. That'd be awesome. Thank you.